Greetings and welcome to another edition of Bleeding Priest Bay Area Metal Spotlights. And for this edition, I'm going to be covering an album by a band I've been a fan of since pretty much day one. I've been following them since they started. I went to their first handful of shows, and even my old band, Old Grandad, played their first show in San Francisco. They opened for us, believe it or not. But I'm talking about High on Fire. And this album, Surrounded by Thieves, is my favorite. I mean, there's no such thing as a bad High on Fire album, but this one happens to be my favorite. Came out in 2001, I believe. But this album was a huge turning point for the band. Even though it's only their second album, they made some drastic changes leading up to this record, from the first album to this album musically. And even after, this would be the last album with the original lineup of Matt Pike on guitar and vocals, George Rice on bass, and Des Kenzel on drums. George left the band after the touring cycle for Surrounded by Thieves, which was really surprising because my old band, the Cutthroats 9, we did a U.S. tour with High on Fire. We supported them for like 6-7 weeks across the U.S. with Losco opening. And I didn't see any sign of them not getting along or George not being happy. They were playing great. The shows were awesome, and everyone seemed to get along. So I don't know why he left the band, but it came to a shock to me. So that's one big thing about this album. It's the end of the first era of High on Fire. But musically, they were already changing and shifting gears with this album. Their first album, The Art of Self-Defense, is a great debut. It shocked the scene and shocked the world. But, it's definitely more along the lines of what Sleep was doing, but supercharged with way more hyperactive drumming by Dez. But musically, the songs were close to what Sleep was doing. But this album is a major jump forward and a lot more aggressive, much faster tempos on this album. Definitely exploring the thrashier side, more Motorheady side at times. And they've kept that sound up until present day High on Fire. This album started their trajectory to playing faster music and eventually incorporating double bass. There's no double bass on this album, or the first album, or the third album even, I believe. I was a little disappointed when Dez decided to start doing double bass, because really he didn't need it, because he is playing a 4-piece kit on this drum set, and it sounds like he's playing a full-on metal double bass massive kit. He made a lot of sounds and a lot of music with those 4 drums. And he could do the artificial double bass thing with this floor tom better than anyone. So when he finally did get a double bass, I was kind of disappointed, but I got over it pretty quickly because it definitely brought more to their music, and they could play even faster and do straight up thrash parts. So I'm getting ahead of myself here. But yeah, this album is great. Like I said, my old band Cutthroats 9 toured with them for the U.S. tour, one of their U.S. tours for this record. And I know Chris Holmes from Wasp once said, if you're touring right, if you know how to do a tour right, it'll take 5 years off your life. Each tour you do takes 5 years off your life. And I have to say that this tour with High on Fire applies to that rule for sure. And I'm going to give you one quick story about the kind of debauchery we were getting into on that tour. And it was an every night thing. Like, it was nonstop. But when we played Phoenix, we stayed at a friend of Matt Pike's house who had like a warehouse space, like a barn kind of warehouse type of structure. And inside that building, or that barn, was a full backline for a band, a full drum set, amps, guitars, bass, the whole thing. And so we spent most of the night partying at this dude's house, partaking in adult recreational activity. And around 4 o'clock in the morning, we decided to go jam. So we went into this barn. It was Matt Pike on guitar, me on drums, Chris Spencer on second guitar, or maybe bass, and Dez, the original drummer for High on Fire, on vocals. And, we're jamming on ZZ Top and Judas Priest and whatever. Eventually it started getting too metal for Chris, and he bailed and went back into the house. So it was just me, Matt, and Dez, and we ended up jamming on Exodus's Toxic Waltz. So we tried to, at least. This is like 5:30 in the morning. So you can imagine how well we were playing. And so we're jamming on the Toxic Waltz. And Dez, he forgot the lyrics to the song. So he decided to write his own lyrics to the Toxic Waltz. And he renamed the song The Radioactive Shuffle. and I even remember the chorus, excuse me. It said, "Start a fight and get into a scuffle, because everybody's doing the radioactive shuffle." So that's the kind of tour we had. And it was a lot of fun, great times. I miss Dez. It took me a long time to accept the fact that there is a High on Fire existing right now without him on drums. I actually fully still haven't accepted that fact. I've seen him since Dez has left, and they're doing fine. They're still great. They're putting out great albums, and their current drummer is, he's doing a good job. But nothing will ever beat Dez and him being in High on Fire and old school High on Fire. I love this album. I love Dez. I hope you're doing well. And check this album out if you're unfamiliar. Fucking Surrounded by Thieves.